Good evening. Did I catch you napping? You're
I
expecting a
fucking
big.
caught you napping.
You expected a big lead up there, weren't you? 5 minutes early? No, 50 seconds early. That's enough for you. Evening, everybody. Yeah, forgot to go live at 5-2.
Paul's not a forgetful old man. Honest, governor.
See? Well, come on, we haven't been doing this long. I got hello. We'll say hello to the chat in just a second. Hello, Chris. Yes, it's not as if we've been doing this for very long though. We're only beginners, to be fair.
What, nearly 2 years now?
Right. Well, yes. Hello. Welcome to the fucking chaos, everybody. What is going on with my desktop cam? This is going to piss me off.
Consummate professionals, I believe, is the word used.
Right. So let's say hello. Good evening to everybody in chat. We've got a quiet one tonight. Normally it's bloody scrolled off the screen before we even go live. That'll teach me for only going live 60 seconds before we need to be on air, eh? Hello, Cheese Me. Hello, Darren. Hello, Spam. That's David's other half, for those of you who don't know. Hello to Chris. Sorry to hear you're ill, Darren. Disappointing, mate. But do you know what? You're such a reliable piece of the furniture. We'll let you have one quiet night. You suck on your lemsip and chill, boy. You do. Cheese me, God alone knows, mate. Everybody like my new swanky apron? Look, it's all little poppers.
You got a new one?
Yeah, because I'm such a fat cunt. I actually bust the waist. I ripped the ties on the sides. I did a hasty repair job with a needle and thread, but my wife took pity on me and said, just buy you a new one. So I've got a flash new hobby pinny with loads of little pockets in the front as well, so I can.
Are you now me? You have all the pockets.
Yeah. What was this? Spam paint in the bath. Is the S silent? What S?
Where's the...
Which S? You'll have to be more specific, Ewok, and less cryptic. Is the S silent?
Where's my accelerant spray?
Oh, fucking hell, that'll teach you for asking, won't it? You cunt. Oh dear. Welcome.
Have you just been coached?
I've just been absolutely fucking man-trapped. Oh dear. Nice one. Oh yes, so good evening everybody. Welcome to another show. This is our regular Thursday night live stream for those of you who are new and who are watching us later in YouTube land. Hello Shark, good to see you, sir. We are over the next couple of hours, we will be talking about shit related to the tabletop hobby. Our normal format is that David and I will be showing you what we're working on at the moment. We'll have a brief chat about what we got up to on our Monday night gaming club. Then we'll throw some shade on the internet and fucking pick holes in other people's work. And then about 9 get the old salt cellars out. And then about 9 o'clock, we might get into a main topic. We might not. We're a little bit on the fence, aren't we? We're a little bit indecisive about tonight. It might happen.
I mean, I'm overthinking it, to be brutally honest. I'm thinking, which way are we going to head with this topic? Because there's multiple options we can take.
Yeah, we could go here, we could go there. I don't know. Oh dear. I should have had a can of drink and a coffee, shouldn't I? And then I should have done the old, what do I fancy? Leaned into the whole indecisive thing. Hello, Cheese Me. Good to see you. I don't know if I said hello. I see you've been posting. Anyway, shall we get on to the first thing that we're going to talk about? Do you want me to go first? Then you can.
Yes,
then I can man the salt cellars as you start fucking ranting yet again. I'm just going to sort this out because I seem to have set my desktop cam up in the most spaz way possible.
Yeah, but that's you in general, is it not?
And if I'm not careful, I'm going to turn my mobile off in a minute. Oh,
You
that
don't
was
need it.
predictable. Oh yeah, I could see that coming. That worked really well. God.
Did you just turn it all off?
Yeah.
You fucking prick. How long have you been doing this?
10 minutes, you'd think. Come on, why won't my mobile
You'd think by now this is like our 5th show or something
Yeah,
stupid.
like, not us.
Instead, we've been doing this for
2
fucking what?
years.
2 and a bit years now, and it's like, oh no, we're still no better, boys
Hang
and
on a
girls.
minute. What the fuck? My mobile seems to be dead. Is it actually? Okay, that's random. I've got. Fuck's sake. Come on, phone. Wakey, wakey. Yes. My phone is back on. Load. Join room with camera. Oh, I've fallen off. This will fucking mean a new URL, won't it? Oh, God. Right. Da da. Lift music. Da 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 da.
No, because that just fills me with images of you stripping, which I didn't really need right now.
Oh, God. What's going on?
I don't know, Ginge. What is going on? What is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life. Hey! I don't need to do a new URL. I wish I
There's
understood.
only one answer,
Oh,
and I
it's a
will be
bit
mucho
fucking dark.
disappointed if you don't get the right answer.
Right. Here we go. Here we go. We're away. We're away.
Off to the races.
Yep, we're good. We're a bit dark, and I don't understand why, but fuck it. I'll roll with the blows. So, do for historical art, set IPs, or for what action or tournament army lists? Oh, do you know what? That's a good one, Shark. Basically, if you were to ask me, I think I find bolt action exciting when you delve into the individual theatres. So the only way I've built bolt action armies is when I've basically went into I chose to do Fall of Singapore, Early War, and I did the British and Japanese from those theatre selectors. So the British troops are mostly infantry, no heavy support really, apart from a few field
Heaviest
guns.
thing you've got's a fucking Bren carrier, isn't it?
Yeah. Bren carry is the heaviest piece of kit I can bring, and then you've basically got inexperienced Brits with some Australian commandos, which are the only things that have got some combat experience, which is really flavourful. And then obviously you've got your really veteran Japanese army because they've been already fighting in the Chinese for what, since 36, so they're already up to their knees in the guts of most of East Asia. So but that's the way I prefer to do bolt action, mate. If somebody was to say to me, build a competitive generic platoon, I couldn't give less of a fuck about that, frankly. That would not, I would not be interested even bothering. Yeah.
Come on, you got everybody at home on centre hook.
Anyway, sorry.
Enough
Enough of the fucking side show. So, what am I doing tonight? Well, one of the things I want to do tonight, I've managed to. I'm. For those of you who don't know and are new to the show, I am not a try-hard painter. I am a speed painter. So base coats and washes 90% of the time. These are some more of the Malifaux demons only for Malifaux, for my Asami crew. These are actually Bayou faction, for those who know Malifaux. So they're designed to be played with the Bayou, or they're Bayou affiliated, but Asami can take them because technically they're only demons. Their actual name is Akaname. Apologise for my terrible pronunciation. But basically, they remind me a bit of Slimer from Ghostbusters. And they're really cheap, not very durable little demon models that basically throw a ton of poison slime about. So as Malifaux is a very fiddly game, they basically just poison things. But these are 90% finished. I do think this green, so this is refractive green, which I think may have been changed to reflective. I think this may have had a name change. It's 70.890 of the model colour range anyway, whatever they now call it.
Fuck's sake, man.
Covered in Ethonian camo shade from G-Dub, Citadel colour. And it's come out, although you can't really tell because my lighting's terrible for showing this off. The shade has fallen nicely in these muscle creases and given them a bit of definition, but it's just a bit too dark for me. So I'm probably going to hit these guys with a dry brush of green grey just to brighten them up a ton. Because that is
a ton or a touch?
No, I brighten them up a ton because when they're not on, I mean, just under room lighting, they look virtually black. So I think I really do need to pick it up a bit. Hence going the green grey route. I'm not. Again, I don't do subtle. If I do a dry brush, it's like 4 steps above the bloody base coat. I don't do it in subtle steps. Before we move on, I don't remember if I showed these last week, but I've finished these miniatures for the Batman Gotham City Chronicles. This was Shark's suggested colour scheme, I believe, and I'm really pleased with how these turned out.
The blue jacket.
Yeah, they look completely kitsch and Miami Vice with their blonde hair and ridiculous blue jackets. The metallic didn't work very well, but these are done. So when I've done the dry brushing on my demons here, I want to paint some more of these if I can. So it'll be over to you guys again. As you did such a good job of calling out the colour scheme last time, we're going to give you guys the privilege of doing it again. I think we'll go with these shotgun guys. So I think I've got 4 of these in my little magic tub. So what do we need? We've got a sort of a raggedy t-shirt. Everything's a little bit out of focus. We've got a raggedy t-shirt, some pants and boots. Again, relatively simple models to paint. Skin tone, which I'll probably go dark flesh. So really, we only need 2 colours. Tops and bottoms, guys. What do we reckon? Share your suggestions into the chat. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be up to. Now then, mate, what about you? Let's make sure we get the salt on.
Come down while I swear profusely.
Fucking hell. It's the Rock with a ponytail. Yeah. Well, it's more of it's more of a little samurai top knot thing. Black leather pants. Oh my god, black gloss pants. That could be a thing. In fact, I don't know if you guys have already suggested it. Do we do pink t-shirts and gloss black leather pants? Do we just hot pink? Hot pink might be. Do you know what? And for everybody who's currently saying, you pathetic bastard, that's not very grim and gothic and Arkham, I say, fuck you. Where's your sense of humour?
You need to do some red and white, sir.
Red and white?
Yeah.
Why?
No reason.
just because you need to do red and white. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll take that under advisement. I just need to do red and white. Right, let's go to David's table. You're on, mate.
So, boys and girls, this is now week number 3 of doing this piece of shit. Tonight, we are putting the roof on in... Well, that's really good. That only just fucking fits. Wonderful. We're putting the roof on this piece of shit tonight.
Sorry.
So we're doing that. We've got some coffins to build for the roof signage and things, and then we're going to swear profusely in about 35 to 40 minets.
There you go. You've got your salt shaker on if you want to get into your
fucking rule set. So I've got to make the bits that go round here for the coffin lid. But unlike most other kits that you've come across where everything's oh no, we just have a sprue of cuttings. That's really handy, boys, because there's the 2 bits that I can find for my coffin lid, and all the others I have no fucking idea where they are.
Mate, they're coffin shaped. How fucking hard can it be to find bits that are coffin shaped?
Should I just remind you of the 2 and 8 that you had in relation to fucking your?
You don't have to do that.
Scenic set.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to go on about that. That doesn't have to be a thing, does it?
War Cradle. If you're doing a set of instructions, either 1, number the fucking items. Because that would be really helpful.
Should we show people? Let's show people what you're working with, because he's got, you know, he's not working with nothing, are you, mate? You're working with the best. Where is it?
Oh yeah, the highest of quality instructions.
So these are the instructions that's making him swear. Yeah. As he says, no numbers. Everything's grey, no colour, except for the red lines, of course. They're in colour. I mean, I get it. We've talked about this before. The kits are pre-coloured, some of them, and they are cheap, relatively speaking. They're not expensive MDF kits for pre-coloured kits, but fucking hell. Look at this image here. You're supposed to identify these 2 small pieces only from their shape on the world's grainiest, shittiest PDF. That is,
the fact that they're at a little bit of an angle as well, which makes it a load harder to do.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, let me stop this because it's covering up the bit I'm talking about. So what I'm talking about is those 2 small pieces that were under the salt shaker, for everybody who's not sure what the fuck I'm going on about. I mean, at a stretch, it's doable. But really, you know, honestly, I mean, and I get it. You've probably saved some man hours. This, you know, laying out and numbering and all this sort of stuff. It's probably quite time consuming to make sure that it's done correctly. But fucking hell, it makes your kit so hard. I mean, again, looking at the image on the left, on the right hand side.
Look at the image to the left of the one you're just on about, right? That's this area down here.
What, on your? Do you want me to bring your camera up again?
No. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Do that.
Okay. Let's hide.
The image Paul's on about where he's put the fireplace on.
Yep.
Please tell me how that looks anything like the image that's there. Because it really doesn't, because it's missing the depth that's cut out. It's missing loads of stuff. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. The thing is, it is like puzzle building, cheese me, but that's not what you bought it for. You know,
it shouldn't have to be like fucking puzzle building. It should just be a case of, I've got it, let's put it together.
Yeah, it's fucking grim. I've just seen Ewok's comment about having to have the Heimlich maneuver because he choked during a health and safety meeting. Fucking genius. So this is the 3rd week, mate. Do you think you might finish the kit this week?
I'm fucking hoping so. If not, I'm going to set fire to the cunt.
Oh dear. Well, it is a big centerpiece model, isn't it?
No, not really. The cat house that's bigger went together easier.
Fucking hell. So funny.
Because at least with the cat house instructions, like halfway, I think, let me go see if I can find it, because this is just one big set, right? They have zero consistency across their range, right? Because if I'm just going to move you boys and girls over here a second, so apologies for the motion sickness. Look at them there. The metalsmith is all coloured. So the brown bits are brown and the grey bits are grey.
Everything's lettered and numbered.
And coloured. So if you can't find the number because they only etch half of them on, at least you know what colour you're looking for.
Yeah, that's true, because they're spray sprues, aren't they? So
yeah.
Fucking hell.
I mean, that's the cat house.
Yeah.
All of that lovely colour. White and brown and red and yellow, so I know what sprues I'm looking for. This one, let's just have all the shades of grey, boys and girls. All the shades of grey.
It's like you say, it's completely inconsistent. Fucking ridiculous.
It's irritating. It's fucking irritating.
Main scene. Let's go back to the main scene while you fiddle around with your camera. Oh dear. So yeah, hopefully David will finish it after 3 weeks. Let me get rid of my desktop cam because it's just going to be in the fucking way now. Swing it round out the way.
And God forbid the glue actually sticks to the fucking paint, because it's just pulled all the paint off one side of this building. Fucking sure. We are applying with super glue.
Next week's topic: how bad are War Cradle's kits. Fucking hell. To be fair, we could probably go on for an hour. We could do that for an hour, I think. The thing is, I don't know. Maybe it's David doesn't, but I've got experience of the other end. I've done foreground, lots of it before they went under, and foreground kits were premium priced, but they were incredible kits. Really beautiful.
Yeah, but did you have instructions that were actually coherent and consistent?
They were not flawless, but they were pretty close. And I'll tell you what else was good about the foreground kits. They were entirely photographic in their assembly instructions. So it was literally a series of photographs of the actual kit.
What, you mean they actually trial built it?
Yes. So you could, I mean, they had to have at least done one test construct because they photographed the fucking thing. And they even photographed, they were pretty much one of my first as well, Darren, for MDF. And the problem is you get spoiled. They even, because obviously sometimes when you have, like, with the foreground, you had multiple thickness walls, like the church that I've got up on my shelf here. Some of the walls are 3 layers: inner texture, outer texture, and superstructure. And obviously they've all got to be glued and bonded together. So they even, in their kits, the big kits, they used to send you a bag full of clothes pegs and elastic bands to actually wrap around the kit while it dried, and they show you in the photographs exactly how to clip and brace to get everything to secure. So like I say, they weren't flawless. There were errors and there were missing shots that sometimes were confusing, but they were bloody close. And they were very good. They were a benchmark product. Unfortunately, maybe they were too good, because it did, obviously, I think their Kickstarter did have something to do with it, but ultimately their company failed. And it's a shame. It is a shame, because they produced great stuff. Anyway, Club Night. Talking of Malifaux, one of the reasons I've been speed painting more Malifaux models is I got to play it on Monday. Now, I don't know if we mentioned it last week. We probably didn't, but I made the discovery that Malifaux completely rewrote my entire faction in May of this year, and I completely missed it. So when I was planning for my game, I realised that every single one of the data cards for each of my miniatures had changed completely. They completely rewritten the way the faction works. And so basically I had a ton of prep to do for Monday, and Monday was almost like a test game for me. First time playing the new models, new rules. So I played my Asami from 10 Thunders. Why has that come back on? Go away. Let me hide the Salt Shaker. David Salt Shaker. So yeah, I basically played. It was my first test game, and what I did was I did something that nobody would do out of deliberate choice. I took as many different models as I could without any real plan, because I didn't know how anything worked. So I thought, fuck it, I'll take like one of everything.
Trial by fire.
And I think I had 8 different models in play at the start. And it was bloody good fun. It was an extremely slow game, and I have to thank Upworlder, or Trevor, who was my opponent. He's not in the chat tonight because I think he's working nights this week. I have to thank Trevor for his patience, because I played incredibly slowly, obviously, because I was basically learning everything from the ground up. We only got to turn 3. It was a draw, 2-2. Trevor played a blinding final turn and pulled a draw out of the bag that was almost genius. And I must say, he's getting very slick at playing his Jackdaw crew, which I think is Outcasts. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or the comments. But he's getting quite clever and slick at playing his crew now. He's getting all of his little tricks off, or more of them. And I love it. The thing is as well, it actually it's inspired us for a topic, because we sit here and bitch often about a certain Games Workshop company that change all of their rules of their games every 5 minutes, and it just makes playing their games soul destroying for me. Because when you're somebody like David and myself, who plays like 20 different miniature games casually, when you like come to play one of their games after an 8-month hiatus, you're doing this process of learning everything from scratch every fucking time, over and over again, rewriting lists, relearning rules. And what I've discovered is I don't dislike that process. I'm excited for Infinity N5, and I enjoyed this. Even though...
I think it's everything in moderation, though, sir.
That is it. David's got it spot on. It is the degree to which you do it. Because I enjoyed playing this faction differently. I enjoyed the tricks I was pulling off, and I feel I've made progress. And when I do my second and third game, I know it won't be any different from what it is now. Even if it takes me through a whole year to play 3 games of this, I'm going to say this now with confidence. All of these models, or 90% of them, will have had no changes or tweaks or modifications in that 12-month period. Because this game is stable. Okay, it gives you room to breathe. It gives you room to experiment with it. So yeah, we might come back and revisit that as a topic, because change is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's degree, isn't it, mate? So this was at the start of the game. I've only got a couple of quick pickies. I may as well show them off. They're all very similar. I didn't take any sort of like Trevor took the photography right, standing on a chair, just top down, so we could see progress. The orange markers are the main scheme strategy markers. So in this one, it was a relatively simple idea. Basically, we had to control those by having models near them, but not with enemy models near them. And he basically photographed. That was the end of turn 1, I believe, just as we were moving up. And that was the end, pretty much the end of the game. End of turn 3, I think. And obviously, you can see from that picture, it's a very token heavy game, Malifaux. It's quite abstract. It's not very immersive, if that's the correct word. It is very much like a computer. I always describe it very computer gamey, where the things you do are a bit weird and they involve moving things around and positional play. It's not like any other game I've ever played, which is why it's in my stable. Because again, you guys who've watched us loads know that this is my thing. If I'm going to pick up a game, I want to know, well, what does this game do for me that no other game does? And this Malifaux does this, which is like all this crazy shit. So you've got like rift tokens, corpse markers, objective markers, scheme markers, all scattered all over the board. And the whole progress of play is shuffling all these things around and creating weird effects off them. But yeah, absolutely love, fantastic game. Couldn't thank Trevor enough. It was good fun, and his patience was much appreciated. And maybe next time we'll be able to finish the full game. But yeah, that's what I did at club. Now, what about you, mate? Do you want to tell everybody what you did at club?
I am officially a plastic crack dealer. The main reason I am a plastic crack dealer is I introduced Alex to Mythic Battles Pantheon. Not Pantheon, Ragnarok. Alex went away and bought Ragnarok within 12 hours of playing the game, my friends.
Yeah.
Really, really fun game. First time playing it in anger with somebody other than you, Paul.
Yep.
Which was quite nice. It's gonna be big, I think, at club. I genuinely do. Alex loves it. We both reckon Luke will love it. So watch this space, boys and girls.
I know we mentioned it on the stream because obviously I've backed the Kickstarter just to get the extras for Mythic Battles Pantheon, the Greek one, which is what I'm into. Just for, I mean, again, we will all both sit here and give our recommendation for Mythic Battles. Is now available in 3 flavors. I'm sure you can. Pantheon was the original Greek one that was co-produced with Mythic and Monolith. You might be able to find that on the secondary market, because I think that it's not been republished as far as I'm aware, and I think that might be because of issues with Mythic and Monolith both having rights. But then Monolith basically took the game over, and Monolith sole produced Ragnarok, which was the Viking one, and they've now produced Isfet, which is currently on late pledge on GameFound, which is the Egyptian gods one. These, I'm not necessarily saying that you want to go God Pledge binge, but the core games, just the core games.
The core games are good on their own, without doing pledges. Here's the thing: they do it about every 18 months. So here's an idea, boys and girls: back your particular Vice and Poison in 18 months' time when they do another pledge, because they redo all the shit that they've done previously. Yeah. Go buy yourself an expansion for it at that point after you've had a few games of it, because again, it's a mentally good game. The fact that it's drafting and everything else is amazing.
Yeah, there are just so many things to recommend about the game. it is just a board game with miniatures. Let's not get carried away. This is not a full war game, just in case that's what you think it is. It's essentially a board game with miniatures that uses playing cards as like an activation mechanic in your hand. The other great thing about all of the different themed versions of it is that
They're all
they're
cross-compatible.
all cross compatible. So if you collect Isfet and your friend collects Ragnarok, you can drop those miniatures on the table if you don't mind your immersion being broken or if it's not a thing for you. Um, so, but the whole game system is good and it's worth looking at. And you get a lot for. They're not cheap board games, big box board games. What are they, about 100? What's the base pledge? 120 quid?
120 euros and then about 50 euros for VAT and delivery.
Yeah, so 100 and yeah, it's probably going to be about 135
About
probably.
About 150, I think,
Is
with
it?
currency conversion
After,
to GBP.
okay. With VAT and delivery. But it's well worth looking at. Definitely if you have a chance, look at it. And the other thing is as well, look at the secondary market because you did for Ragnarok, didn't you?
Yes,
you
I
got
did, because I was going to go on to the Isfet Pledge Manager and get it, but I saw a deal on eBay of somebody that was offloading it for basically the price that I'd have paid on the Pledge Manager, so I was like, fuck it, I'll buy it now.
Yeah, and not wait for it to be delivered. But yeah, and the other thing I would say is you don't necessarily want to get them all because there is so much content in them. Just buy one. You know, be restrained, pick your flavour, go with it. I agree. I mean, a lot of you guys are saying you're not that keen on the Egyptian theme. I actually quite like the Egyptian look, but I'm not gonna buy it because I have all of the Pantheon stuff.
You already own Pantheon and all the expansions.
Yeah, and I've still got so many minis I haven't painted. I've got scenarios I haven't touched, maps I haven't used, campaigns I haven't played. The only other thing I will mention before we leave this topic and alone is that there is a solo play.
Nemesis, I believe, is what it's called.
But for Pantheon, you can get it as a free download on Monolith on the Mythic Battles website that I think Monolith have set up. But it is heavily scripted, so it's not a solo mode where you can just go wild and use your whole collection. Basically, they've written a scenario that is balanced for one player against a simplified AI. So that is the one drawback on this game. If you're somebody who likes a lot of solo play or wants to get board games that give you that value regardless of whether you get them to the table in the club, no, don't do this. It's a bit like buying a chessboard. Don't buy a chessboard unless you've got an opponent.
Cheese me's gone all in on Ragnarok and Pantheon already.
Yeah, you've got more than enough cheese me. Fucking stop, man. Why would you want to do both? Jesus, even I had the self-control to not back Pantheon. Mate.
Ragnarok, you mean?
I mean, Ragnarok, yeah. But again, for exactly the same reason, I thought, Jesus, no, I've got enough. I should just stop. Although what I will say is, the other great thing is, when obviously Isfet, they've come up with this new incarnation. They have just released a little miniature set for Pantheon. So obviously I have backed that. It was about 30 quid, I think. Something like that. So, self-control, what's that? Yeah. Not arguing. And if I didn't have out of the three, I think I've got the right one for me because I think the Greek. But again, you see, grammar school educated in the classics, 5 years of Latin.
Was I, but I just went, fuck it, the Norse are better.
No, they're not.
Because everybody loves a Viking.
No, they're not. Not better at all. They're more unruly.
The Vikings are better.
They're more unruly and scruffy, yes, but they're not better.
We are going to have a falling out. What did the Greeks ever do for Britain?
Monty Python, anyone? What did the Greeks ever do for me? Oh, genius. And one thing I will say about the Pantheon minis as well, it's a lot warmer in the Med than it is in the North climes. So obviously the female miniatures are a little bit more, shall we say,
Titties.
scantily clad.
I don't know. Have you seen Scardy that I did for the painting comp the other month? She's not exactly got a lot of clothes on, considering it's fucking Baltic outside.
See, Cheeseby says wine, Greek wine. What else did they give us? Feta cheese.
No, just no.
Oh dear. Modern philosophy.
Refer to previous statement. Anyway, it's the news.
Who's out?
It's 20. Uzi, yes, I will go with you on that.
Okay, right. Here is the news. We're going to do this one last because we're going to have to get the salt shaker out again. Fucking hell. I'll tell you what, I'll get RSI. I should actually get a real salt shaker and I can just sit here like sort of like doing this, but it'll look less suggestive, obviously, if I'm looking at holding a salt shaker.
What, than doing that to the camera?
Actually, if I do that over your head, it still gets the message across, doesn't it? Oh dear, what a cunt. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Right. Arkham Horror LCG. I love fucking talking about Arkham Horror LCG. And what's that got to do with war games, Paul? Fuck all, but shut up.
You at the back! Pipe the fuck down!
Pitter sharks on fucking pita bread. Baklava. Right.
Baklava's Turkish, isn't it?
I don't know, mate. Don't even ask me. Playing board games is a YouTube channel that I watch religiously. Let's be brutally honest here, Paul. I watch playing board games religiously for their Arkham Horror living card game content. I've discovered a new channel that I want to shout out to anybody. If you are at all interested in Arkham Horror living card game, watching on YouTube, because I doubt anybody in the chat is. Rather Incoherent is the bizarre title of the channel. Now, this guy, I would describe playing board games as an everyman channel. It doesn't really matter what your interest is in Arkham Horror living card game, whether it's obsessive or just it's one of your many board games that you really enjoy, they will be for you. Rather Incoherent sits at the obsessive end. This chap basically wants to power game what is a cooperative game, and he looks to build the most...
excuse me, you're one to talk with that fucking Stellar deck, bitch.
Funnily enough, which he thinks is the best way to build Stellar as well. So this guy, basically, if you want super optimized, cut all the chaff and shit out of it, Arkham LCG, fantastic channel. He does tier lists, he does individual investigator discussions, he does playthroughs using the Tabletop Simulator mod. He does loads of stuff. So, as I say, I'm giving this channel a shout out because he's not big. He says, I don't even know how big his channel is. He's got 3.5K, so he's not massive, in the scheme of things. So, but definitely well worth a watch if, like me, you're borderline obsessed with Arkham Horror living card game. The other thing I'm going to want to...
addicted.
The other thing is I brought this screen up because David and I were talking about... who is it who brought out the miniatures for the investigators recently, mate?
Loot Studios in conjunction with Asmodee for the new board game.
Yeah.
Not board game.
Role-playing game, wasn't it?
I knew what I meant.
Yeah. So Loot Studios recently did a fantastic set of 3D sculpts, which David has lovingly printed for me. And I'm going to paint up probably a couple for the painting competition. And we were talking about, because they've only done, what, 3 selections, about 18, 20 of them? Something like that?
Feast for Ghouls, King in Yellow, and something else. There's basically three sets at the moment, and across them all, there's what did we say about? There was 8, 6,
Cheese.
and 5, or something like that. So
Che-
there was about 20.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Cheese me, get out. We don't count because we're just fucking idiots and amateurs. So yeah, this David is what I was talking to you about Monday. These are all of the investigators currently for.
We haven't even got a Minty Fanny model.
No. You haven't got Wilson Richards, haven't got Safina Rousseau,
Haven't got the Aviator.
Winifred Habermock. No.
Haven't got Rex.
No. There's so they've
Hang on a minute. I'm
Yeah.
just looking at this video that you have up here.
Yeah.
How the flying fuck is Rex S tier, yet Stella is only B?
Because you didn't play Rex right. That should tell you how broken Rex can get. Evening, Toros. That should tell you how broken Rex can get. And when you revisit the deck, your top priority is decipher that archaic glyph and upgrade
Well,
it.
if I have a hand, yes, they do have a Nythalop.
Yeah, yellowbellytabletop features in the Barkham Horror one. I don't know if they feature in one of the main campaigns. Dream Eaters.
Yeah, they're
Dream Eaters, isn't it? Nyarlathotep.
And they're in the loot stuff as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our first bit of news. Rather incoherent. Great channel name. We should have had it. That would have been our channel name. What else? David said.
No, I should have been technical fucking difficulties.
So this is coming to Kickstarter soon. We wanted to give this a shout out. TT Combat, again, fantastic, cheap MDF terrain. They're finally entering the pre-coloured market. With
what I'm liking about the preview on this? I know it's fucking 40k stuff, and I couldn't give a flying fuck about 40k terrain.
Yeah.
But what I am liking about this is they're taking the what's that fucking company that's out Poland way? Micro Art Studios approach.
Yeah. The screen
and doing printed texture on the MDF
rather than flat color
like War Cradle.
Yep.
Texture, boys and girls. Yeah. Texture.
We know that I know that these demo pieces are ultra basic bitch. And obviously we don't know how ambitious or expensive this Chroma project is going to be. But I'm just, everything is crossed that this is going to be a great product range, because I mean my biggest TT Combat stuff is the Carnivale. I would happily buy every scrap of terrain in the Carnivale range and build it, and just to put it on a table and look at it, even if I never played a game on it. It's absolutely fantastic. But the fucking work that goes into MDF terrain blows my fucking brain apart. It is so labour intensive to get it to look great.
I mean, even me with this pre-colour, I'm fucking 3 weeks in and I'm still not better.
Yeah, but that's because the instructions are shit and the kit's fiddly. You know, it shouldn't be 3 weeks to build a simple thing like that. And to be fair, that's not. It's what you said about consistency, though. I bought some of the. Now I'm going to get these muddled up in a minute, so David will shout at me. But I bought some of the Wayland terrain for War Cradle terrain for Mythos, and I bought the Dunsmouth stuff. Now I assembled 3 or 4 buildings in 2 evenings. And I did all of the accessories, the chaits, crests, lobster pots, the fucking lot. And that all came together in like 7 hours, 9 hours. And that was like 4 kits, 3 or 4 kits. So there's no consistency. Like David's been slogging, he's doing about, he's on his 6th hour on this one kit. It's just there's no fucking rhyme or reason to it. So yes.
No, and again, I did the fucking Dunsmouth Harbour with all the fucking shitty rafter roofs in a session, didn't I?
Do you know when this is due to launch, out of interest, mate?
Beginning of November.
Okay, so literally a week or 2.
Literally a week.
Yep.
In a bit.
Okay, so keep your eyes peeled, guys.
We will be going over it as soon as it is live.
Right, mate. Do you want to get ranty?
Right, I went on the internet this week.
So,
and it sort
of
feeds into tonight's topic. Because for those of you that do or don't know, over the past 18 months, I've been a little bit indecisive. I want to have a mech-based game. I want to have some sci-fi fucking robots, because sci-fi fucking robots are cool. I tried Bot War at Dicini, didn't really enjoy it. I tried Alpha Strike Battletech at Hereward. It's all right. It's just 6mm scale. It's not really what I'm looking for. Tried Xeogenesis at, what's it called?
UKGE.
UK Games Expo. Nice! But the rules and how we were taught it was a fucking car crash. So I'm in the market for a mech-based game. Saw this video, came up in my YouTube recommended, went, I'm going to go watch this.
Yeah, 6 recommended mecha games. 6.
Yeah, 6 recommended mecha games. There's one that's just released from Electi Studios called Arsenal. It's in their Blaster magazine. Saw that was being featured in this episode of 6 Miniatures and was like, fucking yes, I want to go watch this because I'm really liking the idea of like Titanfall mechs and that kind of shit for my mech-based game. Looked at it, yeah, looks all right. Then was looking at his other 6 suggestions. Suggestion number 2 was Gamma Wolves from Ash Barker. Is it Ash Barker? Yeah,
it is. Gamma Wolves was Ash Barker's first, and then Steel Rift was his second.
Barker that did Gamma Wolves. It's a game I'll play if somebody... Yeah. It's a game I'll play if somebody else has some miniatures. I'm not playing it. Why the fuck is it in your recommended list then, mate? Then he talks about Steel Rift. Then the 3rd or 4th one, he talks about a fucking another mech-based game. Doesn't really know much about it, but it's in his recommendations. I'll get somebody else to talk about it. But just fucking give up. This is such a clickbaity title. And I sat through the entire fucking however long it is, 30 minutes of it, trying to fucking bite my teeth and tongue so that I didn't comment and call him a cunt.
Oh dear. So you weren't entirely happy with your experience when you walked away from the video then?
No, it didn't help at all.
Fucking it. I must confess. You've got to agree with...
Man in an arse-kicking contest would have given me more of an idea of what I wanted to play.
I must confess, you've got to admit David has a massive point. Like, the title of the video is, what was it? 6 mecha tabletop war games you can play. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But it's like, why recommend a game that's not for you? What's the value of that? You're just telling me, oh, there's this game out there. I don't play it, though. I might buy some miniatures in case I'm asked. It's like, why mention it? Just don't fucking bother. Tell us about the things that excite you.
No Adeptus Titanicus.
Don't tell it. Yeah. No, not Adeptus Titanicus. Xenowars? I've heard of... Now, what was the new... I've heard of Xenos Rampant. I think Darren has done that, haven't you, Darren? Xenos Rampant. I know Xenos Rampant I bumped into a mate of mine from the Peterborough Wargaming Club who used to be a really close friend back in the day when I was obsessed with collectible card games. A guy called Rob. His surname's gone, but
Farley.
Rob. Sorry.
Farley.
Yes, Rob Farley. Thank you, mate. Yeah, bumped into Rob Farley because he often does demo tables for Peterborough when he's at, and he was at Partisan again. And he was sort of saying to me, you should play Xenos Rampant because they had, I believe, a variation of Lion Rampant. They'd got like a Lion Rampant demo game at the Partisan, a sort of a homebrewed custom scenario. So I might have a look at Xenos Rampant. If any of you guys have got anything to throw in about Xenos Rampant, just throw it in the chat. Or again, anybody says, yeah, that's right. And then there's Dragon Rampant is the fantasy one, isn't it? Cheese me, where it's like take Lion Rampant, add monsters and spells.
Dragons and shit.
And then Xenos is basically so you want to go into space Rampant, is it?
Why haven't they got any rabbits?
Yeah. Oh, it does modern as well. Okay, that's cool. That is very cool. So yeah, as I say, I don't own any of the 3 systems. But as I say, Xenos Rampant, everybody I've met who knows anything about it has said good things about it. Okay, so Toros says friend has played it. It's okay, but nothing mega. Is it because everything's functional, Toros, but there's nothing unique about it? Because I'll be honest, that'll be a big thing for me. I only really get invested when I find something that's got a twist, or I look or I play it and I think no game I've ever played does that, and I like it.
Not that you have OCD.
No, not that I'm a little bit weird and fucking autistic or anything, but that's the way I roll. Okay, so it's highly customizable, but a bit generic in terms of the way it does things. Yeah, it might not work for me then, if it hasn't got that spark of real ingenuity to it. So yeah.
Well, it's got the spark of whatever you want it to be, mate.
Sorry to Warlaw with your 4.8 thousand subscribers. The bits where you talk about the games that you were actually excited about were great.
Really good.
But I must confess, I'm a little bit baffled. The first one really threw me when you said, this is Gamma Wolves, I don't really play it. Anyway, I want to talk about something else.
Me to. Yeah.
It's like, don't do that, mate. Honestly, just focus on what you like and talk about what you like and be enthusiastic about that. You could even just put at the end, and if those
mentions,
if those games didn't appeal to you, check out ching ching ching, and you can just do single slide fucking presentations, just all web URLs, anything. But don't fucking slot them into. I mean, Jesus Christ, it was the second one you talked about. Why? Doesn't make any sense, bud. So there you go. That's David's take on the news. I said, David, have you got anything for the news? He says, oh yeah, have I got something to fucking rant about? in that accent as well.
Consistent.
Ooh, I didn't know that, Ewok. You see, he's a font of knowledge. Apparently, there is a Black Powder and Lake Victorian version of the Rampant thing. What's that called? Empire
Lake
Rampant?
Victorian, you fucking retard. You mean Lake Victorian, you fucking dyslexic fucktard.
What did I say?
Lake Victorian.
No, I didn't. I said late.
You said fucking lake.
Did I Don't be so wet. I didn't say lake.
I'm going to fucking go back and clip it after.
He's going to clip it. Ooh. Right, I need a dry brush. Entertain the masses. I need to get on my hands and knees.
Dirty bastard. But anyway, as I was saying...
I have a dry brush under here.
It leads nicely into tonight's topic because I've
Does
been in
it?
the market for a mech game for ages,
Actually,
but
that's
I've been
true. It's
sat
9
on the
o'clock.
fence. Yeah,
Fucking
it's
hell.
main topic o'clock.
Fuck me. It's like we planned this. I'm not.
Seamless transitions.
Yeah, go on. So this was very much a seed born of your fucking angst, wasn't it? So
Yes.
do you want to tell everybody what do you want to do like the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting where you stand up and say, "I'm David, I have a problem."
No, because you also equally have a problem. It's just in a different way to me.
Look what Toros says that rampant game's called for the late Victorian era.
Yeah.
Typhoid rampant, fucking hell, Toros.
Could be worse. Could be Jack the Ripper rampant.
Ripper rampant. Oh. Do you know what? Whatever it is actually called, I'm going to be so disappointed now because it's not called typhoid rampant.
But yeah,
oh, fucking
anyway,
hell,
boys
that's
and
not my
girls,
dry brushes either. Fucking hell.
at the back. I've been in the market for mecha games. I've been in the market for what's it called? Help me here, Paul.
Basically, rank and flank fantasy-esque game.
Yep. Have I been in the market for anything else?
I think those are the two main ones that you vexatiously dance around.
Constantly.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, we've been having the Steel Rift Battletech fucking conversation since the Peterborough show, The Last Hereward, which was the end of last year.
Don't attack me like that.
It's fucking
That
true.
was strictly uncalled for.
But not wildly inaccurate.
No, not wildly inaccurate at all. Very, very, very and highly accurate.
I do apologise for my cough. It must be driving everybody bats.
Uncalled for. I pledge harassment.
So yeah, essentially you've had these two. I want to play a game that's got mechs in it, and I want to play a rank and flank game that's everything's on square bases and movement trays for bloody over a year probably in both cases.
Yeah.
And you just can't make a decision, can you? You can't commit to a game.
I think the mech game I'm less worried about because Zeo was quite good when we actually looked under the hood and didn't have the experience. It's just that it's not been released fully yet.
No.
It's been in beta and everything else. And again, I've seen this Arsenal's releasing from Electi Studios and the Blaster magazine, and I'm like, I need to get some of that in my life. And I'll probably do it because Electi Studios Arsenal is literally one big mech and 12 soldiers per side. So it's not a huge hobby commitment, and we'll come to this in a minute.
Well,
on the rank and flank side of things, I've been trying demos. I've demoed what? Kings of War, 8th edition, Hobgoblin. What else have we tried? Oathmark.
Yep. I think those are the only four we've actually gone the full hog and demo gamed.
No, we had a look at the one from Pre-Sale.
Oh, that's true. We did try that at UKG, the one that never launched, which was a bloody shame.
Kickstarter because he pulled the plug on it.
I tell you what, I bet that would have been the one if that game had gone ahead.
Yeah.
I think that would have been the one for you because that had some really nice touches to it that I think really appealed to you. But before we get into the topic, what about does anybody, you guys in the chat, this idea of indecision and procrastination, if you've had an instance where you've sat on the fence for far longer than you thought was sensible before you decided to play a game or not play a game, just shout it out now in the chat.
Let me know I'm not alone,
Yeah,
please.
let him know he's not the only one. Because to be honest, I am a little bit baffled by this because, and I am being a bit tongue in cheek there because obviously I do understand. Hey, here is the news. Everybody's different, but this is something that I don't know if it's my age and the fact that I've been doing this hobby for like 2 more decades than David, at least. But I've sort of fixed this problem with me. I don't struggle so much with indecision. It doesn't take me much time to actually say yes, I'm going to play this, or no, I'm only going to play this.
Can I call you out there
Go on.
rather aggressively?
Yeah.
You do not struggle when it comes to gaming. You know what you like, you know what you don't like.
Yes.
However, when it comes to paint and shit
well,
like that,
yeah, no, that is fair, and I did mention that in the little chat we had before we were doing and that is spot on. The only instance, because we had this sort of like conversation before we do bring these topics to you guys, we always have these conversations, and I was thinking, do you know what? The only thing I can think of recently where I have fallen into this trap is, as David says, paint. I am currently a bit of a model colour devotee, so 80 to 90% of my paints are model colour. I have some army painter speed paint. I have some air colour, and I have some old GW products that are just now discontinued. I don't have any of their new products except for their washes. Actually, that's again a lie. I do like their wash line, the Citadel colour washes. But my indecision has been with, particularly, I think the real one was Army Painter Fanatic. Army Painter Fanatic launched, and everybody was like, this is so much better than the old Army Painter product. It's so well catalogued as a paint range. It's so well designed. And I'm like,
can I just wade in with the tiny little bit of research we did on the TT combat stuff?
well, yeah, I mean,
well,
then
as if it wasn't thrown into the ring.
As if it wasn't bad enough that I was like, do I stay with model colour? Do I go with Army Painter? Do I need 2 full paint collections with like fucking 200 colours in? Then we make this discovery, TT Combat do paints. And we buy some and try them out, and fuck me, TT Combat do quite good paints.
Yeah.
And it's suddenly like, oh my god, there's a third option. So, yeah. And you know what? I still don't know what I'm going to do. I still don't know whether I'm going to buy a Fanatic Paint Mega set for 280 quid and retire 80% of my model colour, or whether I'm going to stick with model colour and its formulation change and just pick up a few odd colours to expand into the more exotic tones.
My biggest concern with this formulation change has been some of the stuff that I have seen online where the colours are well and truly fucking changed.
Yeah. Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I know it's been done for a reason, but it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, now those particular colours that I really, really like, I can no longer buy. Again, we had this discussion actually, didn't we, with the Noctua collab with Vallejo.
Yes, where they did
Fairy Flesh and the Demonic Skin colours, they've got some fucking gorgeous colours in that set.
They did some very odd pastel shades, but then they're just suddenly not available anymore, didn't they?
Well, you could only get them in that set. You can never, ever buy them singly.
Yeah, which is
so
BS.
I've got to go and buy a 25 quid set because I've lost or I've used two of the colours in it.
Fucking Ewok. being better than the old Army Painter range is a pretty low bar. Might as well paint with soup. You're not wrong, Army. I've got one Army Painter old paint. There you go. I've still kept it. Ultramarine blue. Painted with it once. It is probably the worst thing I have ever used to paint a model. I would rather use a tester pot from B&Q.
I thought you was about to say your testicles.
I'd rather use the contents of my testicles from B&Q. Yeah, the Army Painter products had a long way to climb. Night all, Darren. Get well soon, mate. Paul, I'll just scroll back a bit in chat. I've gone over to Paul. Shark says, Paul, I'm surprised you have not jumped in on Hail Caesar. To be honest with you, Shark, if I jump into, I'm not saying I won't. If I jump into a historical, it'll probably be Black Powder, English Civil War.
Sir, you've got Saga to finish first.
Look,
Get back in your box.
Yeah, if I jump
Get back in your box. Get back in your box. How's that Saga going for you?
Shut up. Same way the Moonstone's going for both of us.
And the Wild West Exodus.
Toros says, my favourite rank and flank game is still Fantasy Warriors. To be fair, I think that was the one that you sent me the link for, wasn't it, Toros? That absolutely old school one. It looked very interesting. Maybe I should try that with David, probably. I think it's a bit, I don't know, it's low fantasy for him, though. He likes his weird exotica.
You nearly fucked up there.
Nearly. Shark says, I was definitely going to jump into Army Painter Fanatic, but got seduced by the sweet woman that owns Monument of Hobbies and Pro Acryl. Again.
Cheese me. Pro Acryls are good, though. Pro Acryls are good. Paul bought me some for Christmas, 2 years ago? They're really good.
Yeah, the model colour, I mean, people have been saying model colour needed to be updated because they're again, model colour, they're not perfect paints. They have a lot of colour transition during drying, so you often can't tell what your final shade looks like from the bottle. They're bitches to mix, and if you don't put mixing balls in them and have a bloody vortex mixer, some of them are just fucking unusable. Products, the colours like ivory come out like clotted cream half the time. So they're not, their silver is one of the worst metallic silvers I've ever used. Again.
See, the silver I've had from them is actually alright.
Grainy as fuck.
No, it's been fine for me.
It's like, look, cheese me, you don't need to keep labouring the point. David and I are predictable hobbyists in that we don't fucking finish anything that we start. In fact, next week is Halloween and we've got some real horror stories to tell you. Oh dear. Anyway, so indecision. Well, so we thought it. Basically, you guys don't seem that you're too bad. I think Darren said he quickly talks himself out of games after only a couple of weeks. So
Taurus's ivory is lovely, apparently.
but again, maybe I've just got a shit one, but that's fine. But it's the inconsistency that pisses me off.
But yeah, we stumbled upon this topic because I am a fucking procrastinator, and I'm a procrastinator and analysis paralysis my way through fucking everything. Paint schemes.
That is true. Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, it is very much a character trait.
It took me 3.5 months to actually decide that I'm going to buy my Saturn 4 printer. I knew I was going to do it eventually. It was just yo-yoing backwards and forwards and talking myself into it.
But we started to think about, well, what are the factors that play into it? So, we sort of categorized the first one as just amount of choice, didn't we? Or exposure, didn't we, mate?
Yes.
It's a bit like, so like with the paint example, obviously the paint market has become ridiculously flooded. I mean, you've got small, relatively small, high value paint ranges like Pro Acryl, which is expanding all the time, I know. Then you've got the guys like Too Thin Coats and fucking obviously Army Painter, Vallejo, Citadel Colour. Um, there's so much paint out there now that it is ridiculous.
Foundry.
Yeah,
Coat d'Arms.
coat d'arms, yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, should we start dragging in all the scale
No,
model?
excuse me.
Yeah, Night Cheese me. Dragging in all the scale model
Spam.
companies.
I'll just pull the fucking 6-inch knife out of my back. Thank you, babe. Fucking come on stream and get fucking attacked by my missus.
That's fucking funny. Nice one, Spam. Um, so yeah, go on. So from your point of view, mate, what about what about this exposure thing? Just too many choices.
I mean, again, I hadn't even heard of fucking Arsenal until I saw it come up on my Instagram feed, and then I went like a fucking magpie going, oh, that looks nice.
Yeah.
And then I went down a rabbit hole, joined his fucking Discord and everything else, and was like,
yeah.
yeah, no, this is very nice. Oh God.
Yeah. So from just a tiny little glance out of the corner of your eye, you immediately threw yourself into research and joining the Discord server and basically disappearing down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. I mean, again, shall we talk about how long it took me to decide on my infinity paint scheme? And
is that the same thing? Like,
again, I spent, it must have been close to 3 weeks browsing the internet to just find a scheme that I liked, that I wanted to paint, that gave me the colours that I wanted, to then go down that rabbit hole.
But you like to do that. You like to come to something like a scheme to have a pedigree, don't you? You wouldn't create your own just random idea off the top of your head and roll with it, would you?
No, again, like my Ragnarok's actually a good example of this. I didn't need to go down the rabbit hole, but I still went down the rabbit hole, saw what people have been painting online. Didn't really like it, so went, right, I'm going to paint the artwork that's on the character cards.
Okay.
Most of the stuff's been commissioned from like ArtStation and stuff online.
Yeah.
So it's in guys online, or in people's online personal portfolios of work they've done. So I've pulled it up because obviously the character art on the card is only like fucking a card size.
Yeah, and it doesn't show the whole mini most of the time.
No. So I pulled up the concept art that people have done on the computer to then look at everything and all the details from top to bottom.
And again, do you think that was partly why you got painting so quickly, because there wasn't 100 options? You basically settled on, well, not many people are painting these.
I'm doing it as per the art.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So it does sort of reinforce this idea that you can be overwhelmed by options and choice. But then again, how do you tackle that? Do you just, what do you do? Do you just have the discipline not to doom scroll? Do you shut yourself off from stuff?
I mean, have you met me, Paul?
I know. Yeah. But what I'm thinking is like,
how do we help other people afflicted by this condition?
And obviously, do you have an awareness that if you did change something, you could actually help yourself?
I mean, I possibly could. Spam, wade in here. How are you with painting your what's it called?
Targaryens.
Song of Ice and Fire. Your Targaryens.
I mean, the other thing is, right, say you actually did fight the indecision by cutting yourself off from doom scrolling and advertising and discovering new stuff, is there too much of a downside? What's the downside of that?
Well, I don't get to see things like the Chroma stuff popping up in my Instagram if I uninstall Instagram. Because
Yeah,
my Instagram is very, very targeted. Like, I will often just pick up Instagram and, like, most of my adverts are like, oh, look at this Kickstarter. Look at that Kickstarter. Look
yeah,
at
okay.
this that I found that you might.
So
Oh,
whatever
for
the
fuck's sake.
whatever the Instagram algorithm's doing is working for you as a victim.
Yeah.
But I'm being sort of semi-serious. I mean, if you take a step back, obviously, yeah, you would miss out on all that stuff. But is that a bad thing if it moves you forward with your hobby and your projects?
I mean, again, it took me ages. I backed the Epic Warpath.
Yeah,
It took me over an extra month to decide what I actually wanted, and there's only a limited amount of choices in that shit.
yeah. But that's what we said. I mean, we said you're a vulnerable individual with that. Um, So, I mean, let's move on to some of the other factors because we talked about sort of exposure and choice, but one of the other ones was guidance, wasn't it? And because
Yeah,
sometimes when you are stuck in a decision about what game to play, a good way to break the impasse is through guidance from either peers, friends, your miniature
review
gaming
videos.
group. I mean, one of the issues, particularly with the rank and flank game, is that there isn't a huge amount of people who are in it in our gaming group, are we?
No,
it's not one of the core gaming types that our guys play. They're
no, it's not at
much
all.
more single miniature skirmish style gaming as a group.
Yeah,
Just checking the chat. Ewok says, talking about Lloyd's song. For those of you who don't know, that's an in joke from the on tabletop community, which you should go and join straight away. Do it now. Analysis prices too many choices. That's why Henry fought it. Yeah, yeah. That's true. And did it affect people? No, Shark. It was like, you can have black, you'll be fine. Um, for paint schemes, Toros just jumps on with both feet. Yeah, do you know what, Toros? Can I just ask, mate, how old are you? I suspect you're my age, 40s, 50s, and I've been painting probably for decades. Because I'm exactly the same. I've been painting for so fucking long. It's like I'm going to do these Gotham City beefcakes with shotguns, well, not candy pink, pale pink and skin tight leather black, and I don't care. It'll be fine. I have no fear. It'll be great. 160, really? He's a fucking time lord. I suspected as much, sir. I suspected as much. See, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where you're at, I imagine. You have painted so many things, so many ways, for so long. It's like, yeah, okay, no, I know what I'm doing here. I'll throw this on, that on, it'll be banging. Look at that. Fucking, yeah, it looks just like I thought it would. Um, uh,
just a baby.
Proaquil doesn't play well with a wet palette. That's interesting. I haven't heard that before, Ewok.
Question,
Why
what
does
wet
it?
palette do you have? Because I've used Procryl with a wet palette. I do find it gels up a bit.
Oh, okay. I
But
was just about to ask what's the problem.
It's not that it splits or anything.
No, but do you think the gelling up, is there something weird about the formulation for the carrier?
It's a very slow drying medium as it is.
Right. So if you add a shit ton of water to it or affect the balance of it, it probably starts doing weird shit, does it? Good to know though, mate. Good to know. Yeah, so as I say, guidance. Now, really, I'm the only person who's been trying to expose you to different rank and flank games. And you said you've encountered another problem because you're somebody who really follows the recommended word of influencers, aren't you?
Yeah, I go looking on the internet. And the reason I go looking on the internet mainly is because I have played games that certain people have recommended on the internet and I've quite enjoyed them. So I want like Ash Barker's opinion on a certain game to see what he thinks of it because I know that I like stuff that Ash plays. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um, but then there's the flip side of that, that certain rank and flunk games, looking at you, Oathmark, um, aren't particularly well encountered
They're not they're not very
by
well
the
covered
crowd.
in the YouTube space, are they?
No, and I'm not saying that I can't trust what I'm seeing in front of me, but we've had it before at cons where we've had demonstrations and people demonstrating the games haven't even got it right, and it's their baby. So if I see a rule that I don't like, I want to go find cross references in other places to double check that is the way it is before I go and spend money on the fucker.
I mean, I definitely I think this is one where I concur with you actually quite a lot. Um, before I decide that I'm going to um, play a game system, I will probably look for extended playthroughs and coverages on YouTube by at least 2 different content creators, or at the minimum, a review or thoughts video, because
Yeah.
it is very even that it is very easy to get the wrong impression of a game from a single play or from a con
And
play.
the other thing I'm finding is based on obviously what we were talking about earlier, exposure, a lot of content that is being produced at the moment is being produced to sell shit.
Yeah,
And therefore people it's you know how obviously they have to advertise product placement now in the UK.
yeah,
It's like that of this is a product placement video. We've been given this shit and do you know what I mean? There's certain people that can't be trusted when they're putting content up and
yeah.
they just say what they want to say for the payday
To
rather
be
than
to be fair though, mate, I don't think you'll find that much outside of the really big companies. I mean, specifically Games Workshop. I don't think because the thing is with the Games Workshop content creators, and I don't want to throw unnecessary shade here, but I do think that I question most of the people who do Games Workshop content is their day job. And the brutal truth of it is, if they went to a different game system or a different product range, their audience would absolutely nosedive and their livelihood would evaporate.
yes.
And I'm afraid that leaves me in a situation where I question whether they're doing stuff to retain an audience or saying what they actually believe and doing what they're actually convicted in. Um, I
Yeah, I know
mean,
what you mean.
you've only got to look at people like Dave on MS Paints, who basically said, you know, I don't like doing GW stuff exclusively. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm going to make videos about Terminator, the miniature game, and Terminator Genesis and Middle Earth Strand battles, and building a fucking lander out of a toy for Stargrave. Um,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And fuck it. And you just think, okay, no, we can take this guy is cred. If he says
yeah,
shit, it'll be legit because he's putting that before he's putting that before his numbers, basically. He's cutting his nose off because he needs to sleep at night. And
Yeah,
I do think I share your fear, but I don't think it extends outside of GW, and that might be fucking naive of me to say that.
again, no. I'm just pointing out because I spent a lot of time going backwards and forwards on reviews for my Saturn.
Oh, okay, you're talking about
And looking at
outside of
like
wargaming.
faux hammers stuff and everything
Yep, yep,
else and everything. Like again, because I look and research 90% of everything
yep,
within an inch of its life, it affects me constantly with everything.
yep. And
Um,
could that be the same principle as the Games Workshop thing, which is those channels they need their audiences so badly they'll say anything to retain it?
yeah, or we've got this from so and so. Let's say all of the good words, and then we'll say all of the good words about the next one that
Yeah,
comes
because we
out.
don't want to be cut off the list to be sent the next one. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, having said that you're somebody who likes to go and find the reviews, I mean, that can't be a factor with the mech game thing, surely. I mean, there must be a fuck ton of content about the mech games, no? I
Not
mean,
hugely from what I've seen,
because I haven't looked, because obviously it's not.
other than like BattleTech,
Yep.
which obviously every man and his dog is covering. I've had a demo game, and I'm a little bit on the fence about.
Yeah, we played the we
There was
played what's the
there's a
bloody
Alpha Strike.
we played Alpha Strike, but on hexes, didn't we? We played a weird
Yes.
hybrid.
And again, I've seen some Gamma Wolves content,
Yeah,
but
on
it's
Ash.
only from Ash.
Yeah. Well, he
And
wrote
I'm not
it.
saying, and I'm not. Yeah, again, I'm not knocking Ash here. I do like Ash's content, but I would like a second opinion from some other fucker.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And I can see why that would be an issue. What was the third one that we had? Because we had three sort of factors feeding into this indecision thing, didn't we?
Exposure.
Guidance. Well, one of the things that we said was a factor, certainly for the rank and flank game, was the size of the project, the scale of the commitment, and the fear of getting it
Yes.
wrong. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? And maybe why,
Yes.
and explain,
So the Met.
is that different for the mech
Yeah,
game?
here's sort of where I'm looking at on things.
Yeah,
Xeogenesis is a couple of big mechs and some little guys. Arsenal that I've been looking at is one mech, 12 little guys per side.
yeah,
Gamma Wolves is like 3 or 4 mechs on 75 mil. It's next to fucking nothing. I don't feel bad about the mech game and going, fuck it, we're doing this. And then I play it and it turns out to be a crock of shit because I can use most of that stuff for a different one.
yeah.
And also, I've only committed to painting like at most 20 miniatures.
Yeah.
The other issue I have, right, and this is where I am at the fence. You're not overly into mechy sci-fi stuff. I know you're happy to play it with me,
Yep.
but you're not overly into it.
No.
Unlike Infinity and other games that I've got, Flames of War, etc., getting those to the table is why sort of the mech project's been on the back burner for me. I want to do it, but I've just been putting it off because there's other stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Because again, I know that the commitment isn't too bad for me to just get the fuck on with it when I want to get the fuck on with it.
To be fair, though, that would apply once you've, even if you decided, oh, well, it's definitely going to be Steel Rift, that would still apply, wouldn't it? It's a bit like I said to you. So one of the analogies we said was like Wild West games. Now, obviously, there are a ton of Wild West games out there, or Wild West themed games. Wild West Exodus is one I know that David's very interested in. There's a lot more. There's historical ones like Dead Man's.
Noted Toros.
What did Toro say?
Toros has said about Horizon War by
Oh, is this another mech
Dan
game?
Mersey.
You've got Dead Man's Hand. You've got Fistful of Lead. I can't remember there's that weird one by Black Scorpion that's got zombies and skeletons in it, so it's got fantasy elements. I can't remember what the
Not
fuck.
Cutlass.
No, somebody tell me what that's called before I go fucking mad. But do you know, the thing is with me is like I've seen all of these games. I've played Fistful of Lead. I've played Wild
Played
West
some Dead Man's
Exodus.
Hand.
Sorry.
Played some Dead Man's Hand.
Did we play Dead Man's Hand? I thought it was Fistful of Lead we played with Wayne, wasn't it?
Yeah, we played some Dead Man's Hand at fucking Norwich.
No, that was the Little Wars rule set.
No, somewhere we played some.
It wasn't Dead Man's Hand. It was Little Wars, mate. And I can't remember what it's called. Restless something. I'm sure. But anyway, for me, as soon as I saw Dracula's America on Ash's channel, it's like that's the Wild West game I'm going to be doing. Dracula's America. That's it. That's for me.
I have found it. It's no longer in print.
Yeah. What is it?
Horizon Wars.
Oh, I see. Bollocks.
2 to 15mm company level combat. It's no longer in print, but we have a few copies still available for sale, signed and dedicated by the author.
You could probably pick up a PDF though. Bot Wars, I like the look of Toros. David didn't like Bot Wars when we played it.
Didn't like the dice mechanic in it.
Yeah. But Bot Wars would be one that would appeal to me. But I mean, that illustrates how different it is for me. It's like I saw all the options. I saw Dracula's America, and I thought, Wild West. Count Dracula's the president. You've got civilian models that you can sort of like bite and fucking take hostage and use as bullet shields, and it's like, yeah, that's the game I want to play. I still don't have it, but I know that when it comes to me buying and playing a Wild West game, the one I will dive into with both feet is that one.
But take the flip side of this coin, because obviously I've said about the mech game being on the back burner. I really want to do a big rank and flank army. I haven't painted more than 20 miniatures for a game other than Flames. Flames is about the biggest army I've done lately.
I was going to say lately, because you've got a 40k army, haven't you?
I've got a 40k army, but half of it's still fucking unpainted.
Oh, okay.
Because I just parked it. I want to do an army level game, and most of the games that I have are skirmish based. Okay. Unfortunately. So that's why I've been looking at rank and flank, and we've demoed some, and we've had pros and cons, and we've mentioned them here before on stream. But unlike a skirmish level game where it's like, oh fuck it, it's only 20 minis. Like again, Wild West Exodus, it's only 20 minis. Yeah, we'll get it done and get on with it.
What was the one you tried recently? The space one, where you just
Space Station Zero.
Space Station Zero.
Been playing some co-op Space Station Zero with Ricky. I need 5 miniatures for that and some terrain. Done. Sold to the man in red. Let's go. Frostgrave again. Need my core warband. We'll get on with that. Armada similarly. Just need 10 boats.
Battle drill.
Some islands and stuff. Yeah, Star Scrappers Battle Drill. 3D printed one again. Got some miniatures. Printed them. Painted them. Played it.
Was it half a dozen miniatures? Something like that?
Yeah, I think the entire set's like 10. If you wanted to bring everything. So that's why I want to do a rank and flank.
But the problem is,
I know that it's a massive time and commitment to do the one that I want, and I don't want to build an army and then have a rule set I don't want to play for. And the main reason I'm looking at this is I've played Kings of War, and Kings of War seems all right, but it's not got enough fantasy in it for me. Kings of War is sort of very specific
Yeah.
in its look and feel versus others'
It's
look
an
and feel,
extremely
etc.
tight game, but I would describe it as a little bit dry in the magic and the sort of like supernatural occurrences are very muted and toned down. You know, like you
Yeah,
buy a magic item for your unit, what does it do? Well, it adds one of the keywords that you don't normally have. Yay. You know, it's
yeah.
quite,
It's not this round, fucking
you know, it's not I'd buy this
game-breaking thing.
spell and blow half of his army up because I'm a god.
I mean, again, 8th edition goes the other way for me. 8th edition is out of print now, so obviously fine, whatever, I can get stuff for it because Paul's got most of it anyway. But the magic for that is too much for me because
Yeah,
I can't decide on the magic. It's a random roll.
it is
And
too
I won the
unpredictable.
demo game that I had with Paul based on the magic that I rolled.
Yeah, and it is completely unbalanced, and admittedly, the game. Everybody who plays the game tells you is if they're honest, says the magic is completely broken in it.
So as I say, this is where I'm at. I'm sort of between a rock and a hard place of I don't want to get into a system and then have to knee jerk and pull out.
Yeah, because
Again,
it's too much of a commitment, both
yeah,
financially, time wise.
effort because I'm going to be 3D printing it all.
But but this isn't a factor for the mech thing, or it is sort
No,
of a factor,
it it's a factor, but it's less of a factor.
right?
It's only 20 miniatures.
Yeah, okay.
I need to do triple that at a minimum
Yeah,
to
no,
have
you're
a
right.
small scale rank and flank game.
Yeah. So you think the chances are then, based on that assertion alone, you'll probably get a mech game to the table before you get a fucking rank and flank game sorted. Do you think?
Yes and no, because obviously we have discussed about 2025 being the year of Oathmark.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reason that Oathmark is appealing to me, and I didn't knee jerk and instantly say no when we said about that,
Yeah.
was the fact that we can build what we want in Oathmark. I can build some elves, some humans, some dwarves. I can build my city and do what I want
Much more
to then
interesting to
play the
collect and
game.
paint.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not. Yes, it is still a commitment because I need to print those units, paint those units, etc. But it's less of a commitment because if something doesn't work for me as well, I can just chop and change.
Yeah.
I'm not tied in so rigidly.
Yep.
To just collecting dwarves, for example.
I wish I could remember the third topic that we said.
Did you text me about it?
No, I didn't because I'm an arse.
We said about exposure. We said about
Guidance because you said about the
guidance.
reviews online. We did mention this idea of scale. Maybe it was
Commitment
that.
and scale.
It might have
Yeah.
been that one. So, I mean, here's another perspective. Then, is the indecision a good thing? I mean, it's like Darren said ages ago. He often has a tough couple of weeks. He'll see something a bit like you. He'll be doom scrolling, or he'll see something on tabletop, and he'll be like, "Ooh, should I?" And then he sort of imposes himself a 2-week cooling off period, and most of the time he just backs away from the edge, and his life is
Yeah.
all the more, he's like fine with that. So maybe there's a world in which this indecision is good.
Well, I was about to say, here's where indecision has been sort of good for me.
Yeah.
Is regularly on a Monday lately, I've scheduled games with like Alex, Luke, Ricky, etc. And this has been, I've scheduled, say, today for a game in a month and a half's time. I've said to him, I don't want to decide what we're playing. I'll play you this week, but we'll decide closer.
Yeah.
Let's see what we're doing, how we're feeling.
Yep.
And that's allowed me to dabble with some Gaslands, Armada, Flames, Mythic, fucking loads of different bits and pieces that I wouldn't necessarily have done
Yep.
because I'll have committed that far in advance to
Fair enough.
play and do
Yep.
that. So there is a perk for that. The other thing with being indecisive and having so many games like me and Paul have is that we can rock up to club and be advocates and bring 15 different games between the two of us at least, because we have the stuff for it. We can drop in and show people, do you know what I mean? Versus somebody that's very rigid and only collects one or two systems.
And just while we're on the topic of, I do have to say that one of the most rewarding experiences I have had at a gaming table this year was that week I showed Luke Malifaux.
Yeah, you did that intro game for Luke.
And I could just see in his face.
I mean, again, it was the same with me with Alex on Monday. We had
with the Ragnarok.
We had a little 10-point game with another terrain rules just so that we could he could just get his head round activation and the dice mechanic, etc. And then we played that first game. I beat him by killing his god.
Yeah.
Because he fucked up. Second game, we did a full draft. We got everything out. We picked what we wanted. We were playing with the terrain rules, everything. Full fat game. Alex won that game, the second game that he's ever played of Ragnarok.
Yep.
Even though he ballsed up and realised that he'd ballsed up halfway through because he'd run out of activations for his god. So his god was in a really vulnerable position.
And no way to get out.
Exactly. I was at this point 2 runes up compared to Alex's 1. So I only needed 1 more and I had won the game. So I just mad ladded, ran onto the boat to get my 3rd so that I'm only 1 away from winning.
Yep.
And Alex just managed to pull stuff back and you could see those cogs whirring.
Yep.
And things clicking into place. And I'm only scratching the surface. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It's making me really excited to go forwards and play some more and do some more.
So,
Night Tauros.
Because here is the other thing that's come up when we were talking about this is, I mean, we've made some progress. We've decided Kings of War is too low fantasy and a little bit dry for you. You like the exotic models, the dwarves with fucking rifles and shit.
We said it. Hobgoblin is possibly the game because it allows me to build and do what the fuck I want in a similar vein to Oathmark.
Well, that was you've headed me off because that was exactly what I was going to say. We had decided that Hobgoblin wasn't for you because it was a bit simplistic and it seemed a bit easy to break. But then we had a change of heart and we've decided maybe Hobgoblin's back on the table.
Yeah. Because it allows us to do what we want with it.
Yeah, and it feeds so hard into your 3D printing passion. Maybe it would be mad not to do it. So
it's one of those things. I mean, again, I know I need to get some terrain going, and again, it's the reason why that I'm on getting the Wild West terrain sorted, because once the Wild West terrain is sorted, me and Paul will be playing Wild West Exodus and getting our heads around that motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I'm on that terrain at the moment. I've got some terrain that I can repurpose from my 15mm flames, mainly my trees and my hills, for for fantasy. I just need to print off 1 or 2 feature pieces, like some ruined barns and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, even that indecisiveness, like I had
I mean,
3D printing is a major hobby of mine. I had Ricky over on Tuesday night sorting out his miniatures for Space Station Zero out of my collection of miniatures that I've got.
yeah.
When I sit there and look that I have over 1,400 miniatures, and some of those are grouped sets, it does make me feel a little sick.
Yeah, that's another reason I don't want to get into 3D printing. I mean, Toros said about scale. Maybe are you committed to 28mm fantasy?
Not necessarily. But the thing I'm finding,
Sorry, am I making it worse?
going down the YouTube rabbit hole, etc.,
Yeah.
is finding content for fantasy stuff
Yeah.
because it's off the beaten track of not GW.
Yeah.
It's actually quite hard to find. Same way that it's quite hard to find content in relation to the mech game.
I mean, I think you'll find old world content easily enough, but it's like you say, that's Games Workshop.
Actually, this is a point because we touched on this last night.
Yeah.
I am cutting my nose off to spite my face. I will never buy Old World.
Yeah.
Out of sheer principle until I know it's going to be stable, i.e., 3 or 4 years without significant rules changes.
Yeah. I mean, because ironically, I think Old World is probably the perfect game for you because it's 8th edition with the magic fixed, basically, and some small tweaks. But it's like you say, it's Games Workshop, and with that comes a whole other set of unpredictable emotional baggage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do not want that
Yeah.
emotional baggage involved with my hobby.
Yeah,
it's
that's
already going to
totally
be a
fair.
roller coaster ride anyway.
Yeah, that seems totally fair to me. So, I don't know if that was useful. What are we doing? We've got about 10 minutes to go. So, a lot of sharks obviously finding the concept of dwarves with rifles being exotic is hilarious. It's not very fantasy though, is it? It's a bit fucking. It's not very.
Again,
I don't remember the minigun squad. I don't remember the minigun squad in Khazad-dûm. Fucking.
Yeah, it's fine. It's as I said to you, Oathmark is beautiful. The game system and the rules are beautiful. The miniatures couldn't give a tinker's jizz about. They're just meh.
Yep. Which I think's fair. But again, this is where I think you've got to be true to yourself, because there'll be positive things to say about most of the games out there. I don't think any one game is universally bad. But you've got to think about what matters to you, and miniatures is huge for you, isn't it?
Yeah. The aesthetic is huge.
And
it's all well and good having a 3D printed army, but it'd be nice to have a 3D printed army that I can say to the missus, oh, well, by the way, I can't really find a nice 3D print for that. Would you mind getting me that for Christmas?
Yeah.
Again, it's the reason why I got into my Iron Jaws, because the miniatures looked good.
Yeah.
I want a Death Cabbage at some point, but I don't play AOS enough to warrant getting a Death Cabbage. Yeah. I know it's been a bit waffly and we've sort of gone round the houses. But I know you with your paints. Have you come to a conclusion on what you're doing, or are you still leaving it up in the air to see what comes?
I think what will probably happen is I will move to Army Painter Fanatic as my main core paint set.
Yeah.
At some point, I will bite the bullet and buy a few colours from an online retailer just to make sure they're not complete shit and what everybody else says about them is pretty good. Um, when I've got most of the set or a good selection of paints, I may end up running them because the other thing that occurs.
I've just had a fucking thought.
Because the other thing
Carry
that,
on, and then I'll come to mine.
okay, because the other thing that occurs to me is I think that the Army Painter Fanatic range might complement Model Colour very well. Because
Yes, because you'll have more colours, etc., in there that aren't necessarily the natural tones that Vallejo are.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my Model Colour now. Like, I've got it divided into 3 trays of about 50 bottles each, 60 bottles each. The second tray of 60 bottles, more than 2/3 of those colours are shades of grey, brown, green. You know,
Yeah.
everything from pastel green right through to fucking dark, almost black, green, grey.
She's all a little samey.
But this is what Model Colour was designed for, wasn't it? Military, painting.
Fatigues.
Like you've got 12 different sand beiges because, you know. So I wonder whether I think I'm calling it now. I think at some point I will buy a few to make sure they're not totally shit. Then I will probably pull the trigger on the mega paint set. And then I will have my muted, and then what will happen is the colours
have a muted palette and
yeah,
a poppy palette.
And the colours that are in the old Model Colour range that are basically redundant, like the intense reds, the bright oranges, they'll just go. And what I'll be left with is those weird in the middle naturalistic shades that you don't find in anything else other than Model Colour. It's like the fact that Model Colour's got like fucking 15 greys. You know, no other paint range has 15 greys. Some more blue, some more green, some more, you know, just straight grey.
I'll tell you where indecision's been a massive thing for me, and it's been a benefit.
See, spam. David already owns an exotic.
I'm not right. I'm not rising to it. Is Drop Zone Commander.
Fucking hell.
Because
Oh no, Ewok's done it! Fucking AK Interactive. I'd forgotten about them Ewok.
But as I was about to say,
bollocks.
Just coming to hit the nail on the head. Drop Zone Commander was not indecisive about the fact that I liked Drop Zone Commander.
Yep.
Was not indecisive and bought everything.
Yep.
Now has major regrets because I have lots of little small armies rather than just one competent big army.
Right.
It swings and roundabouts. Like, I know you wouldn't have any problems with me bringing 2 armies at 500 points to play you at 1,000.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And play them as like 2 allies of convenience or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, that's somewhere where I wasn't indecisive per se. I just got everything because I knew it was going the way of the dodo.
Yeah, yeah. That was the opposite of indecision. That was total impulse, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it's led to indecision because I don't really know which. I like all of the factions.
And so now you don't know which one to flesh out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Huh. Which is interesting because yet again, it comes back to this concept that perhaps a little bit of indecision and hesitancy is a good thing. And not something to be.
I was just sort of
Not something to
bringing
beat
it
yourself up about.
to the table. Because if I'd have been more considered and said, "Oh well, I'm only going to collect 2 factions. I'll collect UCM and PHR, for example."
Yeah, which is exactly what I've done. Which is I've said I'm going to be Scourge, PHR. That's it.
I would probably have 2,000-point armies by now.
Yep.
Because again, I like the idea of getting a behemoth, but I also feel really bad about just getting a behemoth for one specific faction when I own all 5 factions.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be getting close to time. I can't believe I've actually done some painting here, guys. Look at that. I've got my dry brushing done, which is not super aggressive, but do you know what? It's good enough for me. It's add a little bit more interest to them. They'll look fine when they're based. Let's not obsess about it. And we got some flesh tone down. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Are you?
Yeah, and it was a good topic. Now, resist the lure of army painter fanatic. Embrace pro. To be fair, do you know what? I don't know. Maybe you're right, Shark. Maybe I should look at Pro Acryl Fairer. The problem is, it's like...
Here's a better idea.
Yeah.
Here's just a better idea, and here's my 2 cents on
Yep.
it. Have Vallejo as your major.
Yep.
Because it's got all of the neutral colours in.
Yep.
Just buy the poppy colours that you want to buy. Like that Periscopes from Vallejo is a really nice blue.
Yeah.
Then go buy some nice colours from Pro Acryl. Go buy some nice TT Combat stuff.
Yeah.
You've got options. Then you're not tied into just having the full set.
The thing is, though, because I'm not like because I'm very much a painter of convenience, I don't think it matters that much to me. I think you're definitely right. There's definitely an argument for one core paint set and then just pick up bits and pieces to fill in gaps. Pick up something that you think, oh, that'll be perfect for that project. A bit like we do with some of these metallics from the companies like Turbo Dork. Exactly the same idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Avoid scale 75. Not only are they very hard to get, Ewok, but I'm with you, mate. I've not seen great things about scale 75. They've got a very weird base that doesn't seem to be very workable. It's 10 o'clock. We hope that topic was of interest, and we hope it was worth your guys' time.
A little bit of a pace
you'll
change,
have to,
a little bit waffly.
You know, I think the conclusion we've come to is that a bit of procrastination or,
Indecision.
analysis paralysis isn't a bad thing, but there are definitely things that you can do to maybe... The time it becomes bad is when it completely disables any forward progress with your hobby. Yeah. If you find that you're getting frustrated at yourself and that you're not moving forward, think about some of the things that we've talked about. Think about guidance. Would online reviews help? Ask your friends. Ask your gaming buddies. Do they have an opinion one way or the other? I think that was our other category, peer pressure or peer input. But it sort of comes under that anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we step back a bit from social media. If you're a bit
Weasel
vulnerable
tech.
to being... If you're a bit vulnerable to the message, turn the fucking message off.
No,
so
never.
So maybe you do miss those couple of Kickstarters. And if you never knew about them, doesn't matter. Your life will go on. Trust me, you could probably do without half of the stuff you have, which sounds like
Nordic
heresy.
Weasel, is it, Ewok? Ooh.
Okay, Weasel Tech. Shark, are you somebody who mixes colours a lot? Or are you sort of like a blend painter where you'll mix things on your palette and create just the perfect shade and do a lot of that? Because obviously one of the issues I have with Pro Acryl is that I'm basically base coat, wash, fucking out the door. And when I've only got 20 odd paints, that's going to give me a very limited colour palette to paint potentially thousands of miniatures. With 200 colours, I can just make things, again, I can achieve colour separation and slightly different tones just by picking 3 or 4 different paints. And I don't need, because again, I don't know necessarily if I'm going to come back and want to paint that again. And if I write a blend of X and Y, 50
You'll
stroke
never get
50
to
or
it.
60 stroke 40. Yeah. That's a cool idea. Yeah, that's one of the things. Again, it may be an unfounded concern from a terrified old man, but that's one of the things that I do worry about with small paint ranges like Pro Acryl, particularly when you've got them as your core thing. Weasel do a battle mech game, mate. What's that all about? Are you researching that now as we speak?
No, I'm not doom scrolling on my mobile phone finding
Yes,
shit out.
so when the doom scrolling becomes an actual problem, give it a miss.
No, Nordic Weasel, 5 parsecs and Weasel Tech are from the same guy, Ewok.
Yes, that's what he's saying. Nordic P Weasel is the 5 parsecs guy.
God damn it.
So we've gone backwards this stream. That's awesome. We've made no progress whatsoever and made it far worse.
Thanks, Ewok.
It's all going according to plan. So yeah. So if it's a
for
problem
fuck's
for
sake,
you,
Paul, that's you fucking baited. He's doing a silver bayonet one shortly.
Oh my god. Right. So let's call it. Thanks very much for your attention, guys. We hope you enjoyed the stream. Let's give a shout out to. Why have I got a piece of wire that's lethal in my desk? What the fuck? Let's give a shout out to the guys in chat. Thank you very much to them. They make the stream more than half of what it is. They make the stream entertaining for us and entertaining for you. Do you know what, mate? If I wanted to try Pro Acryl, I'll pop across to Jack's house and get him to give me them for a weekend. He would hard sell me Pro Acryl without even blinking. He is a massive fan, my next door neighbour Jack. And he's a hardcore painter. So if I want to try him out, don't worry, mate. I have a way to do that without spending any of my earth pounds. If you can only find time to do one thing tonight, please click the like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm to give us that little bit of push. If you want to do the other shit, share, comment, subscribe, then you're awesome and we love you. But don't think that it's required. Only if you feel you've got the time. That click is sufficient. And with that, we're out of here. David looks like he's going to be doom scrolling away for the next 6 months, trying to find out what fantasy army he wants to collect and whether Battletech really is as good as everybody says.
Yay.